This is the NEEWER RGB62 mini portable LED light. And this box contains a 2-pack. So I was sent this to review for free. If you wanted to purchase it, this 2-pack would cost you about $70. They haven't paid me for my review, and my opinions remain my own. So in the box, we have a 2-pack of these RGB portable lights, 2-pack of USB A to C charging cables, and a decent number of pieces of paper. Various declarations of conformity. There's product safety, warnings, instructions. There is the app for controlling these guys on your cell phone. There's the instruction manual. There's also a user's manual and an end-of-life disposal notice. So each of these guys weighs about 4 ounces, 123 grams with this diffuser on. If you take the diffuser off, you save about 10 grams. So these guys come with the diffuser pre-installed. They snap on and they stay on pretty well. They're not going to fall off accidentally. You really have to kind of get your fingers in there to pop that thing off. Now, if you've used lights like this before, it's pretty similar to many other lights. You have here just the white light mode, and it's at 20% intensity, which is the default when you first turn it on, and it's defaulted to 3500 Kelvin for the color temperature. So I'm pushing it up. There's 100% intensity. You hit the power button a short press, it'll jump into color temperature, and you can push and hold and it will go all the way up to 8500 Kelvin. So there's the cool blue 8500 Kelvin. And then on the lower end it goes all the way down to 2500 Kelvin. So there's your very warm white. There's also a tone modification, so you can do plus and minus on the GM. You probably won't need to do that. So that's the standard, white video light mode. They also have HSI mode, and it starts off with the intensity at 20%. So by default, you're going to have to move this up if you want more intensity. All right, so there's 100% intensity. You hit the power button, you can change the hue, and it's the standard 360-degree color wheel. So here when I hit 0, it's going to be a very red hue. And then they have the saturation. And so you can back off that red a little bit if you want more of a pinkish hue. And if you take the saturation down to 0, it's going to be very much like a white light again. They also have the FX modes, and there's basically 17 different modes. Again, by default, when you first turn this guy on, it's down at 20% brightness. So if you want it brighter than that, you're going to have to move it up to 100%. And then you can go through the different modes. So there's kind of lightning flash mode and paparazzi flash mode, and there's bulb and explosions and welding and various different things. You can do loops of hues and flashes. There's cop cars. So just if you want some special lighting effects. But most people, I think, are going to be probably using a white light, mid-color temperature, something like that, for most of their lighting. And so you can see here, there you have the diffuser on. Now when you turn it back on, it will remember the last setting, so it starts off at 100% now. And you have to press and hold for 4 or 5 seconds to turn it off again. So your attachment options are a cold shoe with a locking ring, the 1/4x20 nut, and the back of the unit has a magnet, so it will stay attached to metallic surfaces in this way. You can't put it on the side though, so your metallic surface will have to be oriented like that with the light. Now each of these also has 3 cold shoe ports on the sides, so you can daisy chain other lights or a microphone or so forth. When this guy is turned on and has not yet been paired with an app, it will have a Bluetooth icon flashing. So if you need to reset the Bluetooth, you can push and hold the M button for 5 seconds. So the app manual really just has QR codes that directs you to the appropriate store, the Google Play Store for Android, and it's the Neewer app here. It has 100,000 plus downloads and 2 stars out of 449 reviews. So this app is 38 megabytes in size. Alright, so we're opening up the app. Thanks for using the app. We have to agree to their privacy policies. We have a login or a guest mode. We need to enable Bluetooth permission so it can talk to lights. And there is a plus button to add a device. And it found my light just right off the bat, so I hit the check mark and say OK. One device was added, so I can go into that light and we can change the brightness, we can change the color temperature, we can change the tone slightly. We can also change it to different modes. So here's HSI mode, makes picking your color a little bit faster than the menus on the back. Or you can do hue and saturation this way, change the brightness up. They have extra options in the app, like you can make the light flash and tune to music. You can pick particular special effects that you want to do, like a defective bulb, an explosion, welding, doing flashes or pulses or loops in different colors, the cop car, and so forth. So in addition to HSI, you have RGB, so you can just adjust the RGBs directly. Now, since this is a 2-pack, we are going to add other devices, because I have a second device here. And now we have 2 different devices, and so we can adjust these different devices independently. We can also make a group of devices, so we can add both devices to the group, and then when we access this group, we can activate the devices together, and then also, presumably, we can affect the brightness and color temperature of the devices together so they mirror each other. So we can just adjust both of these simultaneously. There's a slight delay. It's obviously sending a command to the first item in the group first and then the second item, because one changes just slightly before the other, but it's, very quick in succession. I also appreciate being able to hit a power button and turn them on and off without having to press and hold the power button for 4 seconds. So these guys come with a USB A to C cable to charge. When I plug in an A to C cable, it's drawing at 4.9 volts at 0.75 amps, so it's charging at about 4 watts. Now, it also will do USB-C power delivery. So I have a power delivery charger here. It negotiates power delivery. It's just taking 5 volts at 0.76 amps. So there's no real charging speed advantage to using USB-C power delivery. But if you have a power delivery source, it will work properly with that. Now, it has a little battery indicator here. It's flashing. It says it will stop flashing once the battery's fully charged. So these guys have a 2 amp hour battery according to the specifications. So 3.7 volts at 2 amp hours is about 7.4 watt hours. They claim to be a 6 watt light, so I would expect a runtime of just north of 1 hour on these lights here. We're going to charge them all the way up and do a runtime test. Alright, we have a plug icon and a battery, but the battery is no longer flashing, and it is drawing 0 amps and 0.0 watts, and sometimes it goes up to 0.01 watt. But basically, this guy's fully charged, so let's do a discharge test. Alright, I'm starting the runtime test at 5:05 p.m. and I am taking both of these lights and turning them both on, and we are going to set the power level to 100% on both of these lights. They're both set to 5,000 Kelvin. I expect these lights to go out relatively close to one another, seeing as how they should be relatively identical, but due to variances in batteries and so forth, they might be a little bit different runtime. And I have the time-lapse camera watching the whole thing. Alright, it is 7:19 p.m. and these guys are still going. Now that these guys are off, they've exhausted their batteries, I'm going to charge them back up and keep track of exactly how many watt hours it takes to do so. Alright, after being fully depleted, this guy is charging at a rate of 5.5 watts, which is the highest I've seen it charge. It's 1.14 amp at 4.87 volts. Alright, the first light is fully charged, and it took 11 watt hours to charge this guy up. 2.3 amp hours at 5 volts. Alright, I charged up the second light, and it also took 11 watt hours, 2.3 amp hours at 5 volts to charge this guy fully up. So I'm going to say the battery capacity in this guy is probably 9 or 10 watt hours of battery capacity. Okay, so these NEEWER RGB kind of fill lights I think are a pretty good value. When I bought the 2-pack here, they came in at a price point that's very similar to many other in this kind of same form factor. So the price is about the same as others. I know the NEEWER brand and I'm pretty happy with it in the past. They have about a 10 watt hour battery in it from the charging, and they last for about 2 hours, a little bit more than 2 hours. So they say they're 6 watt lights, but if it has a 10 to 11 watt hour battery and lasts for 2 hours at full brightness, I think it's probably closer to 5 watts of usage going out there. But they feel bright enough to me. They feel as bright as they need to be. They got the 3 connection points, they got the magnetic back, they have the optional diffuser you can snap on the front, which is a feature I haven't seen in many others. Reasonably easy to use menu system with 4 buttons on the back. They have an app that controls them. You can put the 2 of them in a group and control them both in a group with the app. So I'm pretty happy with these guys. I think they're a very fine offering in the kind of mini, top of your camera fill light space.